What's going on, YouTube? Luis Cuba Arias, we back at it. There's more than one fight tomorrow. There's also a big UFC card, the last pay-per-view for the UFC ever. So, I know I'm a boxer, but regardless, I love violence. And if you love violence, you don't need to choose between boxing and MMA because they're both violent and they're both a very good way of fighting. And I love fighting. I've always been an MMA fans, and I absolutely hate the fact that people are always comparing boxing's better, MMA's better. Like, they're both two completely different sports, and they both work very hard. And I've had the honor and the privilege to work with some of the top MMA guys because they train boxing a lot. You know, I've been around Anthony Pettis, Showtime Pettis. I trained with Jorge Masvidal. Been around Brandon Moreno, Gilbert Burns. I've been around a lot of UFC guys and MMA guys, and they work very hard. And that's one thing about, UFC guys and MMA guys is it's debatable, but they work just as hard, if not harder, than boxers because they'll go do a whole boxing training, a whole training camp, a whole training in boxing, right? And then a couple hours later, they got to go to wrestling, they got to go to jiu-jitsu, they got to go do kickboxing, they got to do all types of different training. So I feel like we need to stop comparing and just appreciate violence. Violent fighting is amazing. And tomorrow night, there's a big UFC title fight. We got Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. And that's going to be a very good fight. A lot of people, for some reason, Chimaev is a big favorite in this fight, which is crazy because Dricus is undefeated in the UFC. I feel like I don't really like him that much because he beat my boy Adesanya. But the truth is, he's a dog. He's in very good shape. He comes a fight. And the longer this fight plays out, the harder it's going to be for Chimaev. I feel like, Du Plessis has been fighting a lot of guys, a lot of top guys. He's been 5 rounds. 1, 2. He's had 3 already. 3 or 4 scheduled 5-round fights, and he's been 5 rounds twice already, something that Chimaev has not done. And I think him coming in as a champion, his conditioning is going to be tough, man. This guy, he has a very good chin. He could take a hell of a shot, and his cardio is phenomenal. So if Chimaev doesn't keep that pace up and he just can't take him down, the longer that fight goes, the harder it's going to be. But it's hard to go against Chimaev, who's 14-0 right now. It says 6 by knockout, 6 by submission. And this dude broke this dude's jaw. When was that? His last fight when he fought Whitaker? Yeah, he fought Whitaker his last fight. And he literally broke his face in the first round, which was very impressive because Whitaker, former champions, fought him all. Has been in the UFC for a very long time. And he broke his face in the first round. That's probably why he's such a big favorite in this fight, which is rare for a contender, especially a champion who's defended the belt several times to be a huge underdog like that. That's kind of slightly disrespectful. But, like I said, Chimaev has proof he smoked everybody. Kevin Holland was a tough guy who's fought everybody in the MMA world, and he knocked him out and choked him out in 2 minutes. Kamaru Usman's been the only guy that's given him a tough fight because, and Gilbert Burns, another former contender, Kamaru a champion. But other than that, he's been running through these guys in the UFC, literally stopping them, submitting them. 2 rounds, 2 rounds choke, 1 round punches, 1 round punches, 1 round rear naked choke, 1 round choke, 1 round broken face. So this is going to be a very good fight. I feel like the longer the fight plays out, the better the chance that the champion has. But very good main event. And the thing about UFC fights, the good thing is they stack them. So it's going to be a bunch of good fights on the undercard. And one of the fights that I like on the undercard is Michael Venom Page. Very very fun guy to watch. You know, he has a very good, you know, awkward style. He's been knocked out before, and his confidence level was an all-time high until he got knocked out. That was, again, in the Bellator, but still, a knockout's a knockout. And he's been doing this, you know, he ain't been doing too bad in the UFC. He's 2-1. He lost to Ian Gary, who was a tough guy, but, you know, Michael Venom Page is big, you know, skillful. He broke a dude's, he fractured this dude's skull too. So he could definitely fight, you know, and it's going to be a fun fight, but he's got to fight. He got a tough fight in front of him. He fighting Jared Contender, the killer gorilla, tough guy who's fought everybody. I'm just looking up his record. He's fought everybody. Baral, Vettori, fought Sean Strickland, fought Adesanya, Derek Brunson, Kelvin Gastelum. He fought Anderson Silva, Dominic Reyes, bro. Glover Teixeira. Like, this guy's fought them all. So if Michael Venom Page keeps the fight on the outside, he's probably gonna pity pat him to death. But if the killer gorilla gets up close and makes this guy fight, it might not be so sweet for Michael Venom Page. And another good fight that's on the undercard is the return of Carlos Prates, the Brazilian. He's taking on who he fighting? He's taking on his neck. He's taking on Jeff Neal. But Prates was he was killing stuff. You know, he's known for his antics outside the ring. He be smoking cigarettes and drinking, but that boy got thunder in them hands. You know, out of his 21 fights, it says right here. Let's see how many of them by knockout. 21 fights, 16 by knockout. He got thunder in them hands, especially in that left hand. He's a tall, lanky guy. He's a striker. He likes to use his hands. And it's gonna be a good fight. You know, Jeff Neal has fought a lot of guys too. You know, he's tough. But I want to see how Prates gonna look. You know, he tried to jump up the rankings pretty fast. What was his last fight? He fought Ian Gary his last fight, and it took him too long. He almost had him out at the end. He pretty much had him out at the end, but started too late. You know, it was his first 5-round fight though, so you know, he just inexperienced. But Jeff Neal's been in there with a lot of guys too, so this is gonna be an interesting fight. Good bounce back fight for Prates to show what he got. Neal's coming off of a win. He beat Rafael Dos Anjos, you know, his last fight, but Rafael's a little older. But Jeff Neal's fought everybody. Fought Ian Gary, fought Shavkat Rakhmonov. You know, who else he fight? Vicente Luque. That's a guy with a lot of fights. Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy. That's a lot of fights. Fought Mike Perry, Bilal Muhammad, former champion. So this guy's been in there with a lot of guys. So this is gonna be a good measuring stick to see where Prates is at. You know, a lot of people thought he was gonna be the next one. He had the opportunity to shine, dropped the ball a little bit, took too long to start it, but he's still there, and he's still, you know, exciting to watch. Any puncher and any fighter that comes to hurt people is an exciting guy to watch. So this is going to be a good fight tomorrow. Last fight on pay-per-view. Goodbye, pay-per-view, UFC pay-per-view. So looking forward to that. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, again, I like violence. So if there's violence on TV, your boy's watching. And now, I'm going to cover it. Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it.